The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, welcome. I am Tasha Champion, the Shenomenal Coach of Champion Empowerment, and this is the first episode of She Is Shenomenal. Hello, I'm so glad you guys could all be here. This is a very exciting day for me, literally watching my vision manifest through this episode. I'm so excited. So, just to give you guys like a little bit of background, I am the Shenomenal Coach. Shenomenal meaning the magnified or extraordinary phenomenal woman. And Shenomenal Women started off as a little idea for a book that turned into a number one bestseller on Amazon. And then it led to being a household brand, a lifestyle. And I am all about women empowerment and showing women how to walk in their purpose, live in their purpose, and just be the phenomenal woman that they were born to be. So thank you for joining us today. This is going to be an exciting and a great show. Each week, I am going to bring you information. I'm going to interview some incredible women and sometimes the occasional man, because there's some incredible men that I like to call phenomenal. So you'll see some of them too. But right now, I want to talk to you guys about the Shenomenal Woman of the Week. So today, I want to celebrate Misty Sephora. Misty is the owner of Sachet Wax located in Beverly Hills. Whether you are a celebrity or an everyday woman coming into her office to have your areas or yourself waxed, she greets you with a smile and just positive energy between her and her staff. When Misty was 12 years old, Misty had lost her mom to the system. She was found guilty of a crime that she did not commit, and her mother spent 25 years in prison before it was overturned in 2020. Living without her mother from the time that she was 12, she learned a lot about what it's like to live with a mother who is incarcerated. And because of that, she launched Misty's Dream House. Misty's Dream House is all about supporting young girls whose mothers are incarcerated. With your help, with funding that she gets from everyone around, you're able to help with the girls having conversations with their mom with phone calls. She's able to create letters that they send to their moms. She also does workshops to help these young ladies with their vision, with knowing that they still have self-worth and self-value. She wants every young girl whose mother is incarcerated to know that you have a dream and you are able to receive your dreams. So whether Misty is being a wonderful single mom, an entrepreneur, or leading these young girls with Misty's Dream House, Misty is the Shenomenal Woman of the Week. Hey, Misty. All right, I am thrilled to bring to you guys an interview that I did with the incredible, wonderful Danisha Jeter. Many of you know her as one of my Shenomenal women. Not only is she a co-author in the Shenomenal Women book, but she is also one of my go-to women for speaking engagements, to lead and facilitate workshops. She is a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur of 2 businesses, and a retired nurse of over 20 years. So go ahead and check out this incredible interview all about excuses versus accountability. Okay, Denisha. So we're here to talk about excuses versus accountability. Now, I'm not gonna, put us on blast. Some people may know our age, some people may not. But I do feel like as you mature, you start understanding that you may have been living life in excuses and not living life taking accountability for your actions. And as most people know, you are a Shenomenal woman. You are part of the book. You are one of the co-authors. You are one of my Shenomenal crew members that gets to speak and really share your story on a larger platform, which has, in turn, in case you don't know, has helped me quite a bit, and it's helped many women. So let's talk about this for a moment. Let's talk about what part of your life were you more living in your excuses?
I think, just coming out the gate, out of high school, trying to figure out, adulthood. You're in this transitional stage where your parents told you or supposed to tell you certain things. I didn't have that experience. I had to, basically figure out life from an early age by myself. So I kind of, was thrust into the world without a lot of instruction, without a lot of guidance. And I kind of blame my parents for that. You know what I mean? It was like my dad wasn't here. My mother, she was great. She was a great provider, but she just didn't give me a lot of instruction and direction. So I just was thrust into this adult world, and it was like, if they would have did this, if they would have did that, I would have been better off. But at some point, I started making adult decisions. I didn't have a good foundation, but a lot of it, I had enough information to make better decisions. You know what I mean? Experience is the best teacher, and because no one guided me, the things that I went through, I was able to learn from. But if you keep going back to that same thing and not learning from that,
right,
then that's on you.
Absolutely.
That's on you. Your parents, yes, but at some point that responsibility shifts from them to yourself.
You're absolutely right, because like you said, experience is the best teacher, but also when you know better, you are supposed to do better. Not everyone adheres to that, and I think they see it unfold in their life. Talk about maybe a specific time in your life where you just used excuses, and what was that excuse that you were telling yourself? Because a lot of times even a valid reason can still be an excuse. So what was an excuse in your life that played over and over until you said, okay, enough is enough. Let me take accountability for where I
am. In the book, I wrote about my experience becoming a teenage mom. Watching my mother go through, being a single mom. I didn't want that experience for myself and my children. So I held on to that. Like, I don't want to be a single mom, so I'm going to put up with whatever this relationship gives me, because I don't want to be by myself.
We do that.
I don't want to, I don't want my children not to have their father in the home.
Right.
So that was my excuse, and I stayed there, and I suffered. I suffered my emotionally. I suffered financially, physically. I suffered, and all for this.
This idea
right, of this relationship, or something that I didn't want, but in the whole time, I was still a single mom. You know what I mean?
A single mom inside the relationship. Yes,
you know what I mean.
Been there.
It's just like I was just so dead set on not being my mother and not having the same experience. I just stayed in that, and that was my decision. I actually just thought okay, I'm gonna put that to the side. I'm just gonna suck it up and keep pushing forward. If I love him more, if I just focus on this, it'll be better, and I can just deal with it. And
because he'll see the value in me. He'll see that I'm worth it. He'll see that, we're a family. We got to be together. So we create this idea lifestyle, and then we falsely live it, knowing truthfully in our hearts this is not what you're actually doing.
And I lived in this fantasy where like I did not like. Sometimes we don't live with what we actually have. We live with our fantasy, what we think we're supposed to have. And I'm operating on that, but then I'm hurt and just disillusioned because I'm in this, and it doesn't feel like what this fantasy I had was. But again, I just pressed forward. 8 years. I pressed for 8 years and 2 children. I just pressed forward. I put everything that I was feeling aside for this fantasy that never came to fruition.
And we do that as women. And I think a lot of it is what we see in women that came before us. I know for me, my mom was in a 35-year marriage with my father, and I repeated a lot of the things that I saw her do. So when we're not looking at examples that can help shift us out of these false lifestyles, then we don't know what to do sometimes. But we do know, I want this, but this also does not feel good. It doesn't feel good. And like you said, you stayed in a relationship for 8 years, 2 kids. I was in the relationship for 7 years, 4 kids, married another 6 years. Like, I'm really trying to create this lifestyle that is non-existent. So moving from excuses to accountability, because this is what I really want women to understand, that we are where we are in life. Like you said in previous interviews, it's a culmination of our decisions. Where we are is just a culmination of our decisions. But at some point, you have to take accountability for where you are and stop pointing the finger, stop placing the blame, because truth be told, I stayed in that relationship. You stayed in that relationship, and that's a choice. So when did you learn, I get to take accountability for my life?
I don't even know that I learned it when it happened. I was more so saying, like, thinking about the role model the role that I was playing for my children. My son was in this for 5 years, and it was just like when I had my daughter, things changed for me. I started looking at my mom. My mother, see, you watch your mom, put up with this. I didn't watch my mother do that. My mother just worked and she threw herself into us. I didn't have this. Nothing, what I'm looking for, I didn't have an example. She just worked and she took care of us. It was no man. My mother didn't date or anything. Wow. So I'm just coming up with these, ideas of what's supposed to be by myself. But I just knew, my mother worked hard. My mother took care of us. Those things. And I couldn't, when you are in so much pain, when you're chasing behind some man, you can't focus. You can't be an effective parent. So it was more so I did it for my children, my daughter, more than anything, because it's like, even though I knew me, I knew I was out of integrity the whole time.
Exactly.
The entire time. And it was just like, I cannot allow my daughter to live in this and then her suffer because, from decisions I made. Right. So I don't even know that I did it to be accountable at first. It was more so for my daughter not to, repeat or have to see what I had been through. And then as I moved out of it, and then I saw like I had a choice in all this the whole time, and then the future relationships and friendships and jobs and all those things, I started being very intentional with the decisions I was making. Yes. So it was a growth process. It started snowballing into who I am today. So that just kind of opened my eyes to the fact that I am accountable for my life. I am accountable for my future. I can't, do anything about my past. But for this choice beyond, it's up to me. So it kind of started there and just kind of moved, forward that way.
So let's go deeper for a moment, because we do talk about our past. You're going to leave the past in the past. We're going to go forward. But how has your past helped you to maintain taking accountability, being intentional, being purposeful in life as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a friend? How has your past helped shape that?
That everything is like, it's a reference point. I know what I don't want.
Okay.
I know how I don't want to feel anymore.
Right.
So from that point, just if I see a red flag, I'm not going to just start making excuses or living. I'm going to deal with the exact cards that are dealt
to me. Hold on, pause. Let's repeat that. If I see a red flag, I'm not going to make excuses for it. I'm guilty of it. I'm sure other ladies watching has been guilty of that. But I'm glad that you said that, because people need to understand when those red flags come up. Matter of fact, before they're red, even when they're pink, it's going to get red. Right. So I just wanted to repeat that and make sure everybody caught that. If I see the red flags, I'm not going to make excuses.
I'm not going to make excuses.
Okay.
After that, I was in a relationship. I got married after my children's father, and it didn't last 2 years. I wasn't going to spend another 8 years being unhappy. As soon as I started becoming unhappy, I worked towards trying to get back what we had, but it didn't happen. So it's like, why would I waste my time? Right. You know, so that I was young when I was in that relationship. It was like 16 to 25. But I referenced that any relationship, not even just relationship, jobs. If I start getting this feeling that I'm not happy, I'm not into integrity, it's time for me to go. I mean, 20 years, I was a nurse for 20 years, and 20 years ago, I didn't see myself doing anything. After when the pandemic happened, you know, and just things just started snowballing, and I wasn't feeling good about it anymore. I wasn't feeling good, you know, going to work every day. I wasn't feeling good with the things they were asking me to do. I was out of integrity. So what I did, I left. I had to. My happiness and the way I feel is the most important thing in my life. So from that one experience, I vowed to myself, I will never ever allow anything, situation, circumstance to make me feel that way again. If it's not making me happy, it does not belong in my life.
Okay, so we're going to dive into that in just a moment, because I love the happiness piece. Because a lot of times we're looking at externalities to find happiness, and it's actually within us. So we're going to take a break, but we will be right back so we can dive into how do we hold ourselves accountable for our own happiness instead of looking outside to find it. We'll be right back.
Pyro Media Network is a proactive network focused on providing innovative space for content creators and entrepreneurs. PMN is dedicated to giving its viewers a diverse entertainment experience while helping content creators elevate their production, engagement, and overall branding. To date, PMN has reached over 1 million viewers and listeners internationally, produced over 72 successful shows with high ratings and fanfare, and has housed over 135 content creators, brands, and businesses through entertainment and consulting services exclusive to Pyro Media. Pyro Media Network is a space that makes you feel at home. So if you or someone you know wants to make an impact, then contact PMN by visiting www.pyromedianetwork.com, and we will take your production to the next level.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, we are back. We are talking with Danisha Jeter, mom, entrepreneur, Shenomenal woman, and we had just started talking about happiness and how you hold yourself accountable for your own happiness and stop looking for externalities, things that are outside of you in order to find that happiness. So talk about that for a moment, because I'm sure that there was a time where you were looking for happiness. How did you learn that happiness exists in you and everything else is just an enhancement of that?
I learned by, giving my power away to someone else.
Ooh, girl.
It was like when I think I wrote in a book where I just I contemplated, homicide versus suicide.
Woo.
And it was just in this moment I lived for this man. I thought the sun rise because he was here on earth, and I felt beautiful because this beautiful man loved me. And then when somebody else was in my position, it was like, where did that leave me? I must not be valuable. I must not be, because this person that I gave all my power to, that I depended on making me feel good about myself, it was gone. So where else do you have to go? Unless you do that, commit suicide or homicide, where else do you go?
Right.
But inside.
But pause for a second, because you realize I have to go inside. But what about women who they go from this relationship to the next relationship to the next relationship to the next relationship, still searching and looking for that happiness?
I tell people this all the time. You're going to learn your lesson at some point. That uncomfortableness or that feeling is only going to get louder and stronger and louder. And each time you go on, you just pile it up, the vibration just gets bigger until you vibrate and get all that off of you. Right. It's gonna keep coming up. So you can go to another person, but until you go inside and find out who you are and what makes you happy, you're never going to be truly fulfilled. And it's, again, you're going to always look to these people and they're going to always let you down until you figure out who you are and do those things that make you happy. You'll never be whole.
That part.
And so you're going to find that, all men are the same, all men are dogs, or,
all those excuses.
All those
we give.
excuses.
Yes.
No.
There are no good men. I can't find any good men. And then they announce it to their state. It's no good men in Georgia, no good men in California, no good. No.
Girl, you're just going to have to leave Earth then.
Right.
Because this is like, but you're the common denominator of all these things.
Yes.
And it's just like, my husband is amazing. You know what I mean? And we have different, we have nothing in common, but we're happy. You know what I mean? We do things to, compliment each other and make each other happy. But in day to day, it's up to me. I don't, we work, we do our things. So I love being creative. I love, being with my daughter and things of that nature. If I depend on him and he's at work, how am I going to be, like, just minute by minute, how I'm going to be happy if it's something external? You're the only person with you 24 hours a day. If you can't find it here, you're going to be constantly just fragmented and going all over the place looking for something that is inside you the whole entire time.
Exactly.
You have to just know who you are. And that's the thing. Relationships are good. Bad relationships are good too, in a sense, because you learn. You learn what you don't want. You learn what, you do and what you like. Those are reference points.
Yes.
But if you don't take what you, in between relationships and figure out what was it that, pulled me to this person or got me to this situation, you have to self-evaluate.
Yes.
And then learn, grow, and then move on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it may be something with this next person, but it may be another lesson. You don't want to keep going back to the same thing.
Lesson over
because it shows up in your friendships. You can't get along with nobody at work. Your girlfriends, you complain about your girlfriends. You carry that into every aspect of your life until you figure that part out. You work on it, you move on. Life challenges and lessons going to come, but let them be different.
Right.
Don't be having the same thing over and over and over again. Like, come on. Like, there's so much out here to learn.
It really is.
And that you're still at the ground floor. Like,
right. It's like we have to evolve. We have to mature. We have to take responsibility. And you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, am I operating in the same energy as what I want to draw to myself, as what I want to attract?
Right.
Am I smiling on the outside the same way I'm smiling on the inside? If those things are not aligned, we need to reevaluate. We need to self-assess. And I think a lot of people, they don't want to get into those quiet spaces and places within themselves, spending time with themselves, because that is where the truth really lies. And as long as you can keep this other company around, as long as you can keep entertaining these false sense of relationships, then you don't have to hear the quiet within yourself where the truth is. And a lot of people don't want to hit that spot of truth. I mean, like, let me be very transparent. When I had to hit that spot, it was not pretty. And at the same time, I'm still parenting 4 kids, so it's like I got to have this emotion for them which I later found out was really missing because there was a part of me that had abandoned them trying to deal with my own mess. And they were with me every single day. But it's like you said, you had a daughter and you decided, I got to do something different for her. I had my children and still had not gotten to that point. So it's so important that we really learn who we are. Spend that time in the quiet. Spend that time getting to know who you are. How did you come to realize, like, what was that key factor for you where it's like, you know what? I know me. I am shining. I am glowing. I am out here in this world, taking it all in, being beautiful. And then how did that allow you, the healed Denisha, to then draw and attract the husband that you have now? Because there's such a difference in the 8-year relationship to the marriage to right absolutely. Now. But how, I just want women to understand that you were able to attract the energy and the relationship that you wanted because you experienced and spent time with Denisha. So just talk about that a little bit.
At a very young age, I was kind of self-aware, like I knew, like school wasn't ever hard for me. I was very resourceful as a child. I was able to, grasp certain concepts really easily. And so the whole time I was in a relationship, I knew that. I just ignored it. And I played small to make somebody else feel better about themselves. And I did that a lot of my relationships. So I always, deep inside of me, I knew, but I pushed that away because, again, I wanted him to feel a certain way so he can, I can feel a certain way about me. But it's crazy because, like, during all of that, I was in school. I'm excelling, top of my class. I'm hurting and chasing around this man, looking, and, the daylight with a flashlight, as they say. But the whole time, I'm top of my class. Every single degree I've gotten, I was number 1 or 2 in my class with 2 children, working full time. So I knew that about myself. I knew that I could, but I was just playing small, to try to make him feel better. So it was like I just had to tap back into that. When I kind of knew, but then I just had to focus in on that. When you're focusing on the external things, you kind of lose it. How you remember women say, I lost myself. Right. I lost myself in that.
Okay, so you were talking about, women when they say, I found myself by myself. Why is that key? Why is that so important actually to use that time?
Because you have to self-evaluate. Relationships are 2 people coming together, making agreement every single day, and sometimes when it doesn't work, you have to figure out what did I contribute to this breakdown, and so you won't carry it over to the next relationship. And it's always, and it is a breakdown. Even if you put all your best into it, maybe you were just you were ignoring that they didn't deserve that. So you really have to just sit with yourself for a little bit. Even a few days, a few weeks, but just you stop talking to this guy and you immediately on the phone with this guy or whatever.
We see that.
You just have to, just self-evaluate. Just give yourself some time to just, what is it that I need to do, or what is it did I learn about myself in this relationship that I do want to take or don't want to take into this next relationship, and see how this next one goes. So everybody needs time between jobs. It's not just relationships. It's any circumstances or circumstance or situation. You just have to really self-evaluate what your next step is going to be.
Right.
Because it's about planning and implementing and and just really knowing what you want and how you're going to get there. Because if you just kind of flailing through life without a plan, just things just start. You have to be intentional with everything.
Very
you do.
Intentional. I love that. Intentional and purposeful about what you want and what you want to do. I know for me, I had to learn how to even just go to a restaurant by myself. I had to learn how to go to a movie by myself because for everyone who knows me, I love to talk. So I'm thinking, if I go to a restaurant by myself, who am I going to talk to? Am I going to look like I'm lonely and have no friends? Or if I go to the movies by myself, you can't even talk in the movies, and I'm still thinking like, well, I don't want to be in a movie by myself. But it is in those times that you really get to just connect to who you are and what you like, what you don't want. And for everyone out there, I do want them to understand, start speaking what you want. Not focusing on what you don't want, but speak about what you want. want, because that's what the universe hears.
So your words, not even just your words, your thoughts are
Yes.
creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my friend this a couple weeks ago. Once you say I, it's like saying, hey Siri.
Right.
Anything, and once you say I, anything that follows the universe, once you say I, the universe is, the antennas go up.
Yes.
I am broke. I am ugly. So yes, that's what you are, because that's you waking up the spirit, the universe, and anything that you follows that word is going to come to fruition. So you have situations that's going to make you feel ugly.
Right.
It's going to make you situations that's going to bring the brokenness.
Mm-hmm.
If I am powerful, I am beautiful, I am smart, I am a millionaire. All those things. Universe, hey Siri, I need this in my life. And the universe will start conspiring to make that happen.
Yes.
But what your mind thinks, your mouth says, the world moves in that direction.
That part.
So you have to be so intentional what you want to say. When I said 20 years ago, I'm retired from nursing. I did that before at 40. I did that before my 40th birthday.
Wow.
When I saw my husband, I didn't know his face, what it looked like. I knew how I was supposed to feel with my husband, and that's exactly who I have. Is our relationship perfect? No, but I'm not hurting. I'm not chasing anybody, or I'm not.
But it's perfect for you.
You're right.
It's perfect for you. It's perfect
questioning
for him. Yes.
Love. We're dealing with just life. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And we are a unified. We're a unit working towards the same goal, not working against each other. And that's Beautiful. What I know. That's what I wanted my marriage to be. Not a fight against each other, but a fight against the world and circumstances. And that's exactly what I have. Beautiful. So you just have to be intentional. And I thought about that, when I was single, what I wanted my husband to look like. And I knew him since middle school. You know what I mean? But I didn't see him until, I was ready for that.
For him, yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's shift gears, because I really want women to walk away from this show with some things that they can do to start holding themselves accountable, to give up their excuses, to start living intentionally and purposefully. So give, 2 or 3 tips or advice, maybe something that you say to your friends, something that someone told you, but just go ahead and give it out. Put it out there. What can women do to start making these shifts in life right now?
Figure out what it is that you love. What makes you happy? If it's dancing, if it's singing, if it's nursing, if it's drawing, if it's balloon, whatever it is. Focus on that. Yes. Honing in that, nurturing that, growing, what it is that makes you you. Mm-hmm. Everything else will fall into place. Relationships, jobs, money, all those things. Once you focus and hone in on who you are, what you love, and your happiness, all that starts drawn to you. You don't have to worry about the how.
Right.
The how is not your job.
Mm-mm. When the why is important, the how doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yes. So just focus in on that. And and once again, if it doesn't feel good, then it's not for you. Right. Feelings are valid. Emotions are fleeting, but that feeling that you get when something ain't right, that's God. That's the universe telling you something ain't right.
Like, don't wait for the red flag to catch fire.
Right. It's red. The green. Use the what is it? The
stop sign.
The stop sign.
Yes.
Or the signal. Green, you're full born. You going. Once it gets yellow, you feeling like, oh, something ain't right here. And then when it's like flashing red, girl, stop.
Yes.
Go. Stop and reevaluate what you're doing. Like all these things are valid. Nothing happens, just haphazardly. Everything happens for a reason. Beautiful. If somebody is showing it's kind of cliche now, but if somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
Don't make excuses. Oh, maybe this is no maybe. That's exactly what it is. Deal with reality and give away these fantasies, please.
Right. Okay. Cool. I absolutely love that. I'm so grateful for you joining She Is Shenomenal, because we all know you are so shenomenal. You have been my shenomenal friend for years. I had to have you in the book. I had to have you on the show, and you know me, I will keep your number on speed dial. But tell everyone, how can they reach you? How can they reach out to Denisha?
Well, I'm on social media, Facebook, Danisha Jeter. I have 2 businesses. TNT Photo Booth is on Instagram, so at TNT Photo Booth. And then our trucking company is Dirty Deeds. And so we are, it's at Dirty Deeds with a DEEDZ, Dumpin, my husband.
Yes.
They go with that name. But yeah, and then by email, Denisha.Jeter at gmail.com is the best way to reach me directly.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Denisha.
Thank you, Tasha.
All right. What did you guys think? Please pop it into the comments. Excuses versus accountability. Danisha Jeter brought the real. She's always been my real friend. And I love how she uses her own experiences to support and help other women, to give advice, to lead them towards living that incredible Shenomenal life. So thank you, Danisha Jeter. I appreciated you being the first guest on She Is Shenomenal. Now, let's talk about what is to come for the whole Shenomenal lifestyle. So first, we are going to have our second annual Shenomenal Women's Brunch. Please make sure that you are there. You don't want to miss this. It was a complete sold out event last year. And this year we are talking about awakening that Shenomenal life. What do you need to do to be more purposeful, to be more intentional, to be more specific about the things that you want and desire? So go ahead and grab your ticket today, shenomenal.com/brunch. I will see you there. And if you do not have the Shenomenal Women's book, now is your chance to get it. You can get it on either Amazon or, as I like to tell everybody, go to shenomenal.com, click on new book, and make sure you buy it from the author that you know and love so you can get your signed copy. And yes, again, it's available on Amazon. Get your book today. Well, that is it. Our first show is officially in the books. My heart is full. I'm excited, and I can't wait for you guys to come back next week. We are going to talk with Jaira Shu, and we are going to talk all about how the behaviors that hide in the church thrive in the church. Yes, that's what I said. The behaviors that hide in the church thrive in a church. I promise it's an episode you don't want to miss. So on behalf of Tasha Champion, the Shenomenal Coach, this show, She Is Shenomenal, and Pyro Media Network, thank you for joining, and we will see you next week.